Welcome to the Reddit Chronicles. Today we will be reading from Am I the Jerk? Our first post is by WrongNet. Am I the jerk for eating at the children I babysit for's house? I, 20F, babysit for some extra cash on the side. This just happened and it's eating me up, so here we go. So the family ordered pizza for dinner. Mom left cash on the table for me to pay. It was me and two boys, 7 and 10, large cheese pizza and breadsticks. I have always been under the impression that the babysitter is allowed to have a reasonable amount of dinner if they're expected to serve dinner. I've babysat a few times in the past and have never encountered this. When the parents came home to relieve me, they asked how tonight went. I said fine and said that the pizza place was really good as I had never ordered from there before. Mom looked at me puzzled and asked why I ate the kids' dinner. I said I just had 2 pieces of pizza and a breadstick. I feel as if this was not an inappropriate amount to eat. However, the parents disagreed. Dad said that they didn't expect to have to feed me dinner as well and told me not to eat their family's food. Overall, I am very uncomfortable and confused by this experience. Both boys were fed and did not complain about being hungry for the rest of the night. I personally have always assumed, perhaps wrongly, that if I am expected to serve dinner as a sitter, then I am welcome to have a serving. Is this something anyone else has experienced? Am I the jerk? Our next post is by Child-Free Wedding Son. Am I the jerk for refusing to have a fully child-free wedding? So I recently proposed to my long-term girlfriend, and we are planning for a wedding in summer next year. Everything is still very early stages. My fiancée has expressed that she wants a child-free wedding, which I am all down for, but I want to make one exception. My son, 15M. I had him from a previous relationship, and we have evenly split custody of him. Until now, my fiancée has gotten along great with him. We've had days out as a family. She's gone to see his games. He plays ice hockey, and she's even taken him out on fun days, just the two of them. I brought up that I wanted to make an exception to the no kids rule for my son. She shot the idea down straight away and said that she didn't want anyone under 16 there, as she doesn't want to feel like she or anyone else has to babysit on her special day. I told her that no one would have to babysit him. He's 15 and she knows he's well behaved and a generally quiet kid. She then changed her reasoning and asked why I wanted my old family and life on the day I was supposed to be making a commitment to her and our new family. I told her while I will be making a commitment to her, my son is also my family. She then equated it to wanting my ex at our wedding, which I do not and never asked. I told her that I don't care about the aesthetics of the wedding, and that she can pick everything else, the food, the aesthetic, the music, the dress. But all I want is my family at the wedding. My parents, my sisters, and my son. That is my only ultimatum when it comes to our wedding. She started calling me controlling by giving me an ultimatum, and said I had initially agreed to a child-free wedding and now I am gaslighting her. I said we can have a mainly child-free wedding, but with this one exception and expectation that guests can't even complain about being unfair since the only child is the son of the groom. She called me a jerk and is now not talking to me. I really think this is a reasonable want, but maybe I am not seeing something, so am I the jerk? Our next post is by Learning Parenting. Am I the jerk for punishing my 16-year-old stepdaughter after we found out she was bullying a kid for being poor? Hi Reddit, about 2 months ago my wife, F38, and I am 41, learned my stepdaughter F16 was bullying a girl in school over being poor, getting free lunch at school, and not being able to afford necessities such as her own nice car and stuff. Our daughter was kinda spoiled. We provided her with everything she needed along with an allowance and a part-time job at my company. Small family service business. We've been considered middle class, doing things others weren't as privileged to do, such as buying our daughter a car on her 16th birthday. I come from a family of immigrants and was considered in poverty growing up. After learning about the bullying, I was furious as we thought we didn't raise her to behave that way. She was in honors and top ranking of her class. I tried to talk to our daughter over why she would do that, and I was disturbed to learn it was because she viewed that girl as trailer trash, which irritated me. The girl, from what I learned, is very smart and works hard. She bought her own beater car by herself and works 2 jobs. She considered the money our family had as our family's money. So I put her in her place and told her that it was not her money but her mom and I's money. I decided from that point I was spoiling my daughter too much. We ended up taking away her latest iPhone and replacing it with my old iPhone 8 by switching phones with me, with a talk and text plan. We took away her family credit card, sold her car, along with her MacBook and other luxuries. I also told her she would have to find a job without nepotism and work a minimum wage job like everyone else her age, because I'm done giving her handouts if she's gonna act entitled. Fast forward 2 months later, she is working at a fast food restaurant with us driving her around. She doesn't talk to me unless she needs something like a ride, but is very upset with me. My wife feels like I am taking this too far because it's affecting her social status and grades in school. I, however, feel like she needs to be humbled because I can't have a daughter who will disrespect people just because the amount of money they have. I also feel that her behaving this way will affect her younger sister, F12, and how she perceives the world. Am I the jerk for punishing my 16-year-old stepdaughter after we found out she was bullying a kid for being poor? Edit. I also like to add, we took away her MacBook, but she still has access to the family computer in the house. Windows computer for school that is powerful, i7 and great GPU, and recently new. She still has Wi-Fi access at the house, however we did throttle her speed because high-speed internet is a privilege. She has fast enough internet to do homework and watch videos that aren't in HD like Netflix and stuff. She also isn't failing. She went from a straight A student to mostly B's and 2 A's, which I still find great. Edit number 2. This blew up. I would like to clarify some things. Yes, we are upper middle class, not multi-millionaires or anything like that, but enough to live comfortably. She is practically my daughter as I've raised her since she was practically 4, and her real father walked out on the family when she was 2. My wife helps runs the business, and we both agree on punishments. We came to an agreement that I would make decisions with her on things. We did talk with the family, and had her apologize to the girl at school. She was required to do 5 hours of community service at the school, volunteering for food drives and after-school activities due to the school's no-bully policy. We also didn't force her to get a job. She wanted the job to get money so she could hang out with her friends and buy things she wanted. We just cut her off from her $15 per hour receptionist job for a non-nepotism job. We also warned her that if her grades become too unsustainable, she would be forced to quit her job and focus on school. Because she doesn't need extracurricular activities outside of school, she needs to focus on her education. Our next post is by Gloomy Isopod. Am I the jerk for poisoning housemate who ate my food without my permission and ended up in the ER? I, 19M, recently moved into a shared place, and there is someone who keeps stealing my food. At first I thought it was just a mistake, but even my leftovers were being eaten. It was very clear that the person was doing it on purpose. I spoke to my housemates about how I would just prefer to be asked first, but they were nonchalant about it, and none of them admitted to doing it, and I haven't caught anyone in the act, so I just tried to ignore it as it only happened every couple of days or so. A few days ago I came home from work with a carton of eggs that I found while dumpster diving, and some bread. I wanted to give the eggs the water test first before eating them just to make sure that they are safe to consume, but I was too tired and went to bed early without eating. The next day I found out that one of my housemates got so sick he ended up having to go to the emergency room. My eggs were not in the fridge where I left them, but I saw the carton and shells in the trash, and my bread was opened. I had a hunch that it was him because there was a possibility that the eggs had gone bad, but I was also annoyed at the fact that he helped himself to my food without asking. When he came back, I asked him if he had eaten my eggs and bread, but he denied. I then said, okay, but I hope whoever ate them doesn't get as sick as you did because I found the eggs in a dumpster. His face immediately dropped and he looked visibly uncomfortable. He got angry and went from saying that he may have consumed the food by mistake, as he wasn't paying attention and doesn't exactly remember, and accusing me of poisoning him. He said that it's a health hazard to bring such food in communal spaces without warning everyone first, as it's not uncommon for people in shared places to eat other people's food by mistake. He hasn't spoken to me since then, and my housemates are siding with him and called me disgusting for doing that. A part of me feels like I wasn't wrong because they were my eggs that I was fully intending on eating, and I didn't think I had to warn people against eating food that didn't belong to them. But I also do feel bad and guilty that he got sick. So Reddit, please tell me if I was in the wrong. Edit. Just to clarify, because I see comments that suggest that I may have done it on purpose. I didn't. I have been dumpster diving for some of my food recently, so I was fully intending on eating it just like I have been eating the food that I have been finding while dumpster diving. I try to exercise caution, and thankfully it hasn't made me sick yet, but had he not eaten it, I was probably going to end up in the myself, because I was obviously going to eat it. I didn't randomly do it just to try bait and catch whoever has been eating my food. Food poisoning is not a joke. As I said, I just moved recently, and I'm just trying to get on my feet. I also understand that although I make sure to wipe my food first, ultimately it is gross to put food that came from a dumpster in a communal fridge or pantry, and will not continue to do so. I will just put it in my room from now on. Thank you for listening to the Reddit Chronicles. Follow for more content.